Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm recording on August 23rd. The market hasn't opened up yet, so there's a the Fed chair is going to be speaking at Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So that's a big speech, annual speech. So I'm going to be paying attention to that a little bit today, but that's not going to happen until earlier in the morning here, just before noon. I think it's around 10. I think it's 10 a.m. in New York time. That might be Wyoming time too. So I'm not sure. So it might be noonish, maybe. I don't know. So I'll be paying attention to that today. But in this video, I want to talk about the Mpox, some of the stuff that's going on in the news about that. I need to sit down and actually do a really detailed dive of Mpox and all the pathways or many of the pathways and give you a deeper dive, a scientific dive of that. Hopefully I can do that today. Before we start, please make sure that you subscribe to all my channels. I have 4 channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. Please follow me on all those channels. It is important that you follow me on all the channels. Why? Because the announcements when I do a premiere are delayed. Why? Because there are certain things that I say that is shadow banned, throttled. You know, we have freedom of speech, but we don't have freedom of reach. So, you know, that's the reality of the situation. What I have to say when it comes to these types of crises is more important than anyone that you're listening to. More important than anyone you're listening to. All right? So pay attention to what I have to say. If you would like to help support my work, I have thousands of videos that are for free. So, and that's through donations. So please support this work that I do by donating on my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, or buy me a coffee. It's on the homepage at the very bottom. So just click those links on the homepage of my website and then donate if you can. You can be a paid member on Patreon. Different tier levels will get additional free access to some of my medical lectures on pulmonology and immunology. So please be a paid member on Patreon. It really helps by donating and supporting the work I do. Also, I have ebooks, I have supplements, and I have these medical lecture classes that you can sign up for. The medical lecture classes are on immunology or pulmonology. You get a lot of lectures with PDFs and videos for only $50, you know, for each module. So for the immunology module, for $50, you get I think like 22 different lectures. You get you can have access to download the PDFs. You have access to the videos I do, and I think there's 15 lectures that I'm compiling for the immunology. You get PDFs and video lectures. How it works is that once you purchase the module, you'll get a unique password. You log in to the class with that unique password, and then you'll be able to see those videos as many times as you want. It's only for $50. So you get a great deal to learn about immunology, or $50 for pulmonology. You learn a lot of material. Go to the store and get the supplements that I offer. I will go over throughout this video on the important supplements that I offer and some of the new products that I have. The whole idea is to take lessons learned from the anti-aging crowd, the longevity crowd, the crowd that, you know, that has learned and how to naturally, through diet, exercise, and supplementation, to help boost up your immune system. And by stacking, this is where the newfound knowledge is coming from. It's not a particular product, but how you mix it. The stacking is important. All right, how you stack this, and the repeatability of it is where you get the huge benefits that, like what I'm seeing. All right. I started taking antioxidants when I was 16. All right. And then as time has gone on over the decades, um, I've added to my supplement protocol and have tweaked it for me because my biochemistry, my particular health, and all that is different than everybody else, right? You're unique, and you need to kind of like fine tune it a little bit so you get the max benefit. But the key is to do it and to do it regularly and to fine tune. A lot has been learned by people like myself that are in this whole anti-aging longevity subculture. If you follow what we do, you are going to improve your immune system and slow down the aging process. Now, you have Alex Jones out there that's selling a lot of supplements, but does it look like he's really using it or properly stacking it correctly? Even though he has people on his show that know how to do that, like Dr. Group, he is very knowledgeable on the subject matter. Especially with cleansing and detoxifying the body. He's kind of like the go-to guy for that, right? But Alex Jones doesn't do what he says for everybody else to do, because for Alex Jones, it's all about selling supplements and not really improving your health. One, he doesn't understand how they work. He doesn't understand the mechanisms. He doesn't understand the chemistry. He doesn't understand the medical significance of the stacking method. Dr. Group does. Even though he's a chiropractic doctor, he understands this whole idea of detoxification and antioxidants and stacking and repeatability of this, the compound effects of taking this over decades. And you look at Dr. Group and he looks younger compared to his age. He's aging slower. Right? The same thing with me. I'm older than Alex Jones. I'm a lot fitter than Alex Jones. A lot fitter, right? So the point here I'm making is just that, do you want to listen to someone that is actually using the products and telling you exactly how they're doing it, and you actually see with your own eyes how it helps with the body? Or do you want to listen to someone that is just aging faster and faster by the day? All right. 4 years ago, I haven't, 4 years I haven't aged much in 4 years, or even 10 years. You look at Alex Jones, and just the last 2 years, he's aged a lot. Now, again, he has stress and financial issues and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that he has a high BMI. He eats terribly. And he doesn't even follow his own advice when it comes to health, exercise, and supplementation. So why would you want to pay attention to a guy like that? What's more important is to pay attention to people that actually do what they say. And this is the problem that is happening in the kind of this whole alternative news media kind of thing. There's a lot of just blowhards. They're just just trying to, to stimulate interest in their content so they can get eyeballs. That's not what this is about. What this is about is making sure that you understand, to the best of my ability to explain it, of the things that are happening geopolitically, what's happening with our health, and what's happening in the financial markets, and how to mitigate that, and how to navigate through the tumultuous times. Because we're doing this together. All right. So please help support my work. Instead of supporting Alex Jones, go to my store and get the products. I tell you exactly how to stack it. I tell you how I do it. I tell you how to reduce cardiovascular disease. I tell you how to reduce osteoporosis. I tell you how to reduce osteoarthritis. I tell you how to boost up your immune system. I tell you how to get your endocrine system in balance, how to boost up your cellular health, how to slow down the aging process. Alex Jones cannot do that because he doesn't understand the science. He doesn't have any formal training whatsoever in it. Okay, with that said, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the new product that I have. I have cherry drops now in 100 count. I have blueberry drops in 100 count, and I also have honey and lemon drops in 100 count. All right. I also have lozenges in manuka honey and in elderberry zinc in a 21 count. Why do you want to take these lozenges? Why do you want to take these lozenges and drops? Really important. During the allergy season or even the cold season that we're approaching, it starts in September, you may get an irritation in your throat. And by taking the lozenges or the drops, you're going to neutralize that antigen or pathogen, and you're going to create these secretions, and you're going to maintain the mucosal barrier and your epithelial lining in your oral cavity. All right. By doing that, you are reducing the chances of further issue with the antigen that may induce an allergic reaction, or the pathogen that may induce some sort of pathology, some sort of infection. All right. So what's important is to do this right when you have that problem. The moment that you have that kind of, like, you know right away when it happens. The little bit of an irritation, during the allergy seasons, so to mitigate that allergic reaction, the type 1 hypersensitivity reaction, just take the drops or the lozenges right away, and it'll mitigate it. All right. But during the cold season, it's like you're starting to feel like, some irritation in your throat. Right away, take the lozenges or the drops. They're tasty. They have the structural nanosilver. They'll neutralize the pathogen, create those secretions, protect that mucosal barrier, and by doing that, you're going to reduce the chances of infection. All right, because if you let it fester and it gets into your lungs or it gets into your GI tract or whatever, and you start getting sick, it's going to take longer to recover. The whole key here is get it early. Same thing with cancer. Get it early, and you don't have as much of a problem. Or boost up your immune system so your immune system can fight it. Right? That's the whole idea. Catch it early. Build up your immune system to the point where if something happens, it can attack right away. You have full energy to attack it. So please go to my store and get this new product. It's the cherry structural nanosilver drops. But I also have it in honey, lemon, and blueberry. So please go to the store and get those. Get a couple bags so you're ready for the cold season. If you look at the epi curves, it looks like the cold season probably is going to be problematic. Doesn't mean that's going to be the end of the world. But like I said, most people are sick 3 times of the year. Well, if you're sick 3 times of the year and it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to fully heal an average type infection, that means 1/4 of the year you are trying to remodel your tissue that's been damaged from a cold. Fact. That's a fact. You may not feel it, but you're remodeling. So you may have that cold for 5-7 days, and then you start to feel better. Well, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to remodel your tissue that's been damaged. That's how it works. All right. So you're not at full heal mode. You're not at max until 3 to 4 weeks after the infection. And that's something that's benign. If something is much more severe, like pneumonia or some sort of chronic bronchitis, you got serious problems. So, and you're going to just produce cortisol levels, and you're going to have pro-inflammatory cytokines, and you're going to be aging faster, and pay attention to what I'm saying. If you mitigate this early, you won't have as much of a problem, and you don't have to use all that extra time to heal the tissue. All right. And that way your body compounds in a good, you're in homeostasis, and it's compounding and healing and building up your immune system. People that are healthy, people that have a proper lifestyle, don't get sick, usually. All right. And if they do, it's usually quick to recover. There's a reason for that. It's because their immune system is better. Pay attention to me. Or don't pay attention to me. It's up to you. It's in your hands. You have to make the decision on how to improve your life. And lastly, before we start the videos, the structural nano silver liquids. I have it in a max 35. I also have it in a max 14. I also have the structural nano silver in a 30 ppm. So please go to my store, blood-studio-reykjavik.com. Take a teaspoon of this a day. Just swish in your mouth, gargle with it, 20 seconds or so, swallow it. What does it do? Neutralizes pathogens, increases the oral hygiene, and it is improving that mucosal barrier in your oral cavity. So you have a better barrier, so you don't get infected. All right, so please go to the store, take a teaspoon of this a day. Take a teaspoon of it a day. If you're not feeling well, take a tablespoon or two a day. All right, let's start with the videos. Every time I start, it always is a problem.
There's new urgency. Have you seen an uptick in patients?
See? Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
The World
here we
Health
go.
Organization.
Sorry about that. This is a professional outfit here.
In this Brooklyn Health Center.
Right, hold on.
Have you seen an uptick in patients asking for the vaccine?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The
All
World.
right. So this is in NBC, and it's the growing health emergency. Anyway, growing health emergency over now, comma, more deadly strain of Mpox. So they're doing a story. This came out last night. So let's see what happens here. It looks like they're in New York, actually, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're in Chicago, I'm not sure.
Brooklyn Health Center.
Brooklyn.
There's
All right,
new urgency.
Have you seen an uptick in patients asking for the vaccine?
Yes, absolutely. The World Health Organization declaring a new Mpox public health emergency just last week, fueled by a different subtype of the virus, Clade 1. This strain, more transmissible and deadly. Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, is a viral infection spread through close human contact, causing flu-like symptoms and painful lesions. Those most at risk in the U.S. include men who have sex with men and the immunocompromised. Cases have been detected in several countries, with most in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where Dr. Jean Nachega just returned from.
Community awareness is very important. I think this has been a long-time neglected disease.
New Yorker Luke Brown contracted Mpox during the 2022 outbreak after struggling to find a vaccine.
You were trying to get it for months.
I ended up getting my first of the 2-dose vaccine, and then the next day is when I got my first lesion.
The 31-year-old now urging others to get vaccinated as worries of a larger outbreak grow.
Wait a minute.
There is a concern.
He got the he got the inoculation, and then he ended up getting Mpox. Wait a minute. Let's rewind that a little bit. See, we got to pay attention to the nuance, and this is the reason why I do these videos. All right, because if you notice, they keep on replaying the guy from Africa talking about how they just keep on replaying the video. There's nothing really new going on there. All right.
Vaccine.
You were trying to get it for months.
I ended up getting my first of the 2-dose vaccine, and then the next day is when I got my first lesion.
The 31-year-old now urging others to get vaccinated as worries of a larger outbreak.
A lot of questions, and with that statement, I can't bring that up because I'd get strikes on YouTube. But you understand the thinking process with this. Amazing, amazing.
Grow.
And there is a concern that the supply will not meet the demand.
Health officials now awaiting more shipments of the vaccine in the U.S. and abroad. Zinclair Samoa, NBC News, Brooklyn, New York.
Thanks for
Okay,
watching.
so,
Stay updated about breaking
all
news and top
So
story.
what's the big takeaway from that? They're pumping in the news for vaccine manufacturers to make more of these things. So there's going to be some sort of maybe public program to do inoculations. I think it's also going to give the potentiality of giving Moderna an emergency provision maybe, or a fast track for their development of Mpox inoculation. Why? Because they're in clinical trials 1 with their mRNA vaccine. So let's see what's going on with that. All right. All right. This is dealing with the UK here.
We're committed to keeping our quality high and our prices low. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Contagious variant of Mpox.
International spread.
Pathogens do not respect the rules.
Let's stop it now and get ahead of it. Action is needed.
Is the UK at risk from Mpox? A new strain of Mpox, which used to be known as Monkeypox, has been declared a public health emergency of international concern by the World Health Organization.
The coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks.
This isn't the first outbreak of Mpox in recent years. From 2022 to 2023, more than 100 countries reported cases of a different strain, Clade 2, and there were thousands of cases in the UK. But now there's a new strain, Clade 1b, which is spreading across Africa and into other countries. So how is this variant different?
That outbreak was a different clade. It was clade 2, which actually spreads primarily through sexual transmission, which is why vaccination efforts were targeted around that. This strain seems to be spreading much more among children and among the general population. So that's another distinct change compared to the earlier variants.
Let's take a closer look. Democratic Republic of the Congo is the epicenter with over 18.
No one is telling you how this is working. E3 gene protein inhibits the innate immune system. By inhibiting this E3 protein is in Mpox. Mpox has 191 proteins. All right, it's a very complex virus. We don't know much about pox viruses. Why? Because they have large genomes and they're very complex. All right, we know more about HIV and beta coronaviruses and RSV and some of these other viruses, right? But pox viruses are very complex. We know more about herpes viruses than we do about pox viruses. All right. But what we do know is that the E3 protein shuts down the innate immune system. What does that do? It shuts down RIG1, OAS, MDA5. It inhibits the interferon in the cell to activate some of these pathways. So your innate immune system is shut down. When you shut down PKR, which is another pathway it shuts down the apoptosis pathway for the infected cell. That means the cell can't die. So it keeps on making virus. All right. Guess what? The mRNA platform shuts down the innate immune system very similarly with the shutting down the PKR. How? By the way that the messenger RNA works is to trick the cell to think that the messenger RNA isn't foreign. How does it do that? Using pseudouridine. Oh, so what it does is it shuts down the PKR pathway. Oh, so you can't go into apoptosis and release cytokines around surrounding cells to put them in antiviral mode. So if they do get infected, they die off quicker. Well, if you shut down that pathway, you shut down the antiviral innate immune capability of our cells. So Mpox does that, right? Have you heard anyone say that? I'm sure, because I watch these videos. No one has said it other than me. No one. No one. All right. In addition, it shuts the Mpox virus shuts down and it's not very clear how it does it, but it shuts down the activation of the CD4 positive and CD8 positive cells that are cognated, that means attached to, that are cognated to the infected cell that has the Mpox. So the Mpox gets into the cell, and it has the capability of shutting down the innate pathways, so it doesn't know that to go into apoptosis, and it shuts down your CD4s and CD8 activation, so it doesn't kill off the cell, so or elicit an immune response. So that's why the pox starts to, so it does it locally, right? So the pox is growing in these cells and in this tissue, and then then you get the pox, right? And the manifestation of the pox on your skin. All right. It's local immune suppression. So systematic immune system doesn't really realize, oh, wait a minute, I got a problem, and then start to elicit a gigantic immune response. So what happens is now the pox, because it's a local immune suppression with the innate immune system and your adaptive immune system, your CD4s and CD8s. So what happens is that now you start having more virus that gets higher in load, and it starts to spread, and you get more pox. And it gets to a certain point where that local immune suppression doesn't work so well for the Mpox, and then eventually elicits a systemic immune response. But by that time, you have so many of the pox, and it's all over your body. So they go, well, so the body is saying, oh, I now have an infection, and it starts slowly to try to elicit an immune response, right? It can't do it locally because it's shut down, but eventually the stuff leaks if you have enough of these pox, and eventually someone that has Mpox, it will eventually elicit an immune response, but it's already taken hold. That's how these pox work. All right, these pox viruses work. They shut down the immune system locally, so it doesn't really elicit a systemic immune response. Okay, it spreads, then it starts leaking, into your extracellular matrix, and eventually it elicits an immune response. The ones that survive will have antibodies, and they're okay. But you could have scarring because you have so many pox. Mpox is a lot worse than chickenpox. Trust me on this. And chickenpox is not even a pox virus. Chickenpox is a herpes virus. But Mpox is not as bad as smallpox. All right. But the point here is that if you survive, then you'll have antibodies to it. But there's a mechanism with the Mpox virus to shut down the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system up to a certain point where if you have too much viral load, then eventually your systemic immune system will kick in. But by then, you already have pox all over your body. So people would say, well, maybe this is a side effect of the inoculations from 2020. There's a lot of problems with that statement, all right? And I'll tell you. So first of all, these people are saying this. They say that Mpox, some of these people are saying, well, Mpox is not, Mpox doesn't exist, it's just a side effect. What's happening is this. With over inoculation during 2020, your immune system gets trashed and weakened. So what's really happening is that it's easier to get other types of infections like RSV, Mpox, these other viruses, even other bacteria. All right. Now, when your immune system is down, you're gonna be susceptible to these opportunistic infections, and it may be more severe. All right, because you don't have a good immune system. Now, when you look at the lesion of Mpox versus a lesion that is a inoculation injury from 2020 crisis, they're different. They're different. All right. First of all, a pox lesion on the skin is going to be kind of a little bit of a bubble, and it almost look like kind of a little bit of a fluid in there, right? If you lance it, you can sequence and get the Mpox, if it's an Mpox pox, right? If it's Mpox, you know, if you lance that lesion, you're going to get a sequence that is going to be either clade 1 or clade 2, all right, of Mpox. When you look at lesions that are from inoculation injury from 2020, they're flat. They look more like psoriasis or you know, some sort of eczema. They're not a pox lesion. All right. I'll go into a little bit more detail about shingles. And the lesion, when you do a punch biopsy, you're not going to get a sequence of Mpox if you sequenced it. And you'll notice that in the lesion for the punch biopsy, for these injuries from inoculation from 2020, you'll notice that there's a hypersensitivity reaction type 4 or type 3. Oh. So when someone says that Mpox is a, you know, is a vaccine, quote, a vaccine injury, there isn't that's not a true statement. That's not a true statement. Right? You know, from the 2020 crisis, that's not a true statement. What's happening is that the immune system is going down and opportunistic infections are coming in. All right. Well, they'll go, well, there's dermatological manifestations of the injury. Yeah. And that's psoriasis. That's an autoimmune disorder. An autoimmune disorder, dermatologically, is way different than Mpox. Way different. All right. And like I said, all you got to do is do the punch biopsy and do the sequencing and do the histology on the biopsy. And you know what you'll notice? They're totally different. So these people that are saying this, they don't know what they're talking about. Now, there are individuals that do get reactivation of something what we call shingles. Now, with shingles, that's a little different. If you've had chickenpox, some adults have a tendency to get shingles. It's usually later in life. Some people do get it earlier in life. But shingles is basically you've been exposed to chickenpox, usually when you were a kid, and for whatever reason, there's a stressor in your life, and what happens is that you start to get an outbreak of shingles. Now, shingles is dermatological manifestation, and it's unique. So chickenpox, it was around your whole body, but because the chickenpox virus can stay in neurons, the neuron ganglia, it's going to manifest in a dermatome. So your body has these different regions, and you have nerves that go to your dermatome, that go to your skin, to your dermal layer, right? And this whole region that a particular set of nerves is connected to is what we call a dermatome. And when shingles is activated, it's activating from a particular ganglia for a particular nerve. And that's why it's only in a certain region. People that get Mpox aren't getting dermatome regional infection. They're getting whole body infection. So it's not a ganglia issue. It's not so it's totally, the manifestation is totally different. So people are saying, well, Mpox must be shingles. No, because I just told you why. The punch biopsy would show it would be different. The two are two totally different viruses when you sequence it. Two is that the dermatological manifestations are totally different. Shingles is through a dermatome region. Mpox is not. So it's possible, and I've said this before years ago, that through inoculation injury of 2020, you will have people that if a stressor happens in their life, a worry or their immune system is down or whatever, that it may activate dormant virus from a previous chickenpox virus in your ganglia that elicits shingles. So that could happen. Now, some of this could be, a several months or a couple of years after the inoculation from the 2020 crisis, or it could be shortly after the inoculation because of the stressors on your body. All right. But shingles is totally different than Mpox. The manifestations are way different. And even if you did a punch biopsy, you will notice that the sequencing is totally different. There's an Mpox sequencing for the Mpox pox, and the shingles is a herpes virus genome. So they're totally different. But the key here is that the inoculations in 2020 can weaken your immune system to a point where opportunistic infections can take hold and stress your body to the point that it may elicit a dormant virus, such as shingles. The shingles is a disease, really. It's just the chickenpox virus is hiding in the ganglia of your neurons, and that neural network for that dermatome will get inflamed. And that's why when people that have shingles, it's just in a local region, and it's usually in the torso. It's usually in the torso, and it's following the nerve system for that dermatome. All right. It's usually unilateral, not bilateral, and it's usually truncal. It's usually in the trunk of the body, the torso of the body, and it reaches around. It's part of the back, and it reaches around into the front, and kind of in a way follows the rib cage, right? There's reasons for that because of the way the nerves follow the spine and come around, wrap around. But shingles follows the dermatome. Chickenpox didn't follow the dermatome. Mpox doesn't follow the dermatome. You get it all over your body. You get it on your legs, you get it on your arms, you get it on your face. So it's totally two different manifestations. So people conflate all these different things. That's why I said you gotta understand the nuance. Because most of the people, they don't understand the nuance. And you got people that are saying something that's maybe a grain of truth, but a whole lot of falsehood. And so you gotta tease it all out. Was there injury from the inoculation in the 2020 crisis? Yes. Could it elicit shingles? Yes. Does it weaken the immune system as part of the injury of the inoculation? Yes. Can it cause an autoimmune disorder? Yes. And when you have these problems, stressors, it may elicit a shingles reaction and activate a dormant virus in the ganglia. What about these psoriasis lesions that I'm talking about? You have these hypersensitivity type 3 and type 4 reactions. Like T cell reactions for type 4 and the antibody with complement for type 3 reactions on the dermatome. Well, that's an immune system disorder. That's an autoimmune system disorder. And a punch biopsy proves it, because you can literally see in the punch biopsy, when you stain it, you can literally see the cells that are eliciting the lesion, the immune cells that are eliciting the lesion. And if you do the proper staining, you can also see the antibodies. But the point here is that they're totally different. But you have a society that isn't that smart. So they assume that, well, I got a spot here, and so it must be pox. No, it's probably psoriasis. So just pay attention. Just pay attention to the nuance. All right. If you really listen to what I said, inoculations weaken the immune system and in some cases actually cause an autoimmune disorder. And so you may have dermatological manifestations of that, quote, injury through psoriasis, activation of a dormant virus like herpes. And that dermatological manifestation is going to be different for, different types of herpes infections. It could elicit shingles, which is a herpes infection. All right. So they're different. But what we're seeing in the community now is that people are saying Mpox doesn't exist. And it's all the 2020 inoculation injury. Weakening of the immune system can create an environment where opportunistic infections can take hold. That's for sure. So they are related. They are related to this issue, but to say that it is, I mean, you got to really look at the nuance and really pay attention. What did you do? Did you do the punch biopsy? How do you prove it? Because most of these lesions that are coming from inoculation injury from 2020 are psoriasis. Oh, I'll tell you, I'm just so tired of stupid people. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the applicator set so you can put the liquid, structural nanosilver liquid, into these applicators so you can carry it in your bag. You get a nasal drop, you get a nasal spray, a dropper, and a spritzer. It's great to spray the back of your throat or put some of the structural nanosilver liquid in, and put it underneath your tongue or whatever, or spray it in your nostrils. You can also use the spritzer to be able to spray surfaces that neutralize the pathogens. Boost up your immune system by taking vitamin C. Really important. It also helps with your skin. During the cold season, if you're not feeling well, take a double dose and drink filtered water. Filtered water is really important for you because unfiltered water with fluoride makes you stupid. All right? Literally, fluoride makes you stupid.
In cases so far, thought to be driven by the new strain, Clade 1b. There have been more than 500 deaths from Mpox across Africa, with children being the most affected. Mpox is spreading to other countries, including the Philippines, Taiwan, Pakistan, and Thailand. Testing still needs to be done to identify the particular strain, though. But in Sweden last week, the new Clade 1b variant was confirmed, raising alarm in Europe. That's because this variant has never been seen before outside of Africa.
2/3 of these cases have been in children under the age of 15, and we've already seen 321 deaths in children, which is very unusual for Mpox, given what we've seen in the previous years.
How likely is it to spread to the UK?
So far, there have been no reported cases of Clade 1b, but of course, we will see cases arising, and it's how quickly can we contain those, and then developing a strategy to control it and use vaccination, not mass vaccination, but going after.
It's in Sweden, it's in Thailand, it's in Pakistan. I heard, we'll be playing a video, I don't know which clade it is, but I heard that it's also in Wayne County in Michigan. Oh, and that was a hot spot for the general election. UK is going to get it for sure.
High-risk groups or those communities where we think actually there's a higher risk of infection.
So, what are the symptoms of Mpox? Well, some people can go 1 to 3 weeks without even having symptoms. It starts with headaches, fever, and fatigue. The most striking signs of Mpox are lesions and blisters spreading across the body. People remain infectious until these sores are fully healed.
And that's the point that I'm making. That Mpox is different than shingles. Now, could shingles be elicited through stress? Yes. Independent of the crisis of 2020? Yes. Can inoculation injury manifest a shingles reaction? Yes. But this is not shingles. This is Mpox, totally different. And where it goes on your body for shingles, like I said, it follows a dermatome. Pox doesn't follow a dermatome. It goes all over the body.
And they might be asked to isolate on their own until the virus has cleared, as it can be spread through touch or close contact. Is there a point where we could see a large-scale public health response here in the UK?
No, nobody is talking about COVID-style public health measures. Is it?
If there's an outbreak, which still is maybe about 20%, but if there's an outbreak in developed nations, it's going to be a problem because the reason, I'll tell you the reason. The cross-reactivity of anyone that happened to have let me rephrase it. The cross-reactivity of the immune system for inhibiting Mpox is really low in developed nations. Why? Because the vaccine for smallpox, see, the vaccine for smallpox, the antibodies that are elicited are cross-reactive for Mpox. The problem is that we stopped in developing nations, in developed nations, we stopped in the 60s or early 70s, depending on the country. All right. In the United States, I believe it was the 60s, late 60s, maybe 65, 68, somewhere in there. All right. In developing nations, they still had some inoculation programs. If someone immigrated to a developed nation like the United States, if someone immigrated to the United States, they had to have some sort of inoculation. All right. So there are some people that have antibodies in the population in the United States or in the UK, but generation and younger don't, because they weren't inoculated. The baby boomers did. The thing is that the most baby boomers that did get it, that was when they were kids. So that means that their memory cells are most likely really low in concentration or dead. So the response to be able to, at the societal level, to keep that epi curve down, if an outbreak happens in a developed nation, the cross-reactivity and the antibodies within the population are so low, you're not going to be able to stop it. And so there will be an outbreak and there will be a crisis. But that's the big if. There's an emergent, this is why I keep on saying this. There will be an emergent behavior if an outbreak happens in a developed nation, because there's no cross-reactivity at a high enough concentration level and at the societal level. There's not enough people with cross-reactive antibodies in the society to stop an outbreak in a developed nation. That is the point. So if an outbreak does happen, it's going to be hard to contain it, because it's going to be following the same epi curve as what smallpox was back in the 1800s. So we have better healthcare, we have better system tracking and contact tracing and quarantining and all that, and biosecurity bubbles where you would inoculate a surrounding region. The thing is that if an outbreak happens, not onesie twosies, we're lucky if it's just onesie twosies, but if an outbreak does happen, we don't have enough people with cross-reactive antibodies for Mpox. That's a fact. That is a fact. Anyone that's telling you otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. What we need to do is look at the history of how did these things happen when antibodies are not in a population. And you got to go back to developing nations or during the 1800s to understand this, what I'm saying. Developed nations, most people do not have adequate protection to fight it with their immune system. Because the inoculations that the baby boomers have are so old that their titer levels are almost non-existent, or their memory cells are at a low concentration or died off. So it's going to take 14 days to elicit a response. Too late. Too late. Because the way it's supposed to work is you have to elicit a response very quickly, creating new antibodies within 3 to 4 days, and the titer levels are neutralizing as the infection starts. That's how it's supposed to work. But if someone is 70 years old and they took it when they were, as a kid, it's a 60 or plus year titer level depletion. You really think those memory cells are really that active? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Now, what is interesting here is that some people had service. They served their country. So they had to get another smallpox vaccine when they were in the service. So they had kind of like an additional round, and maybe those people have higher titers. But even then, you're talking about people that are still 70, 80 years old that were during, let's say, the Vietnam era. You really think that their immune system is really that robust from inoculations that they had when they were 18 or 20 years old? No, I don't think so. This is where the medical community is failing. They failed in two main ways. One, not telling the audience that's listening to them how the damn Mpox works, which I did, how it shuts down the innate immune system and prevents the activation of CD4 and CD8s. And the other major issue is that that developed nations don't have enough cross-reactive antibodies to stop a pox outbreak, like an Mpox or a smallpox.
Completely different situation. This is a virus we've known about for several decades. This is a virus that we can actually stop through traditional public health measures of testing. It's a very distinctive virus in terms of the rashes you get.
Now, the good news is there is a vaccine, and we know it works against the clade 2 variant, and it's also...
If it's so great, why are they having a major outbreak in the Congo? Because there's a problem.
Expected to work as well for the new clade 1b strain.
Right now, the vaccination campaigns have been targeted at high-risk groups and contacts of those high-risk groups. And that seems to have been very effective at trying to manage, the 2022-23 outbreaks. And so here it's waiting, seeing, are we going to have sporadic introductions? Can we control it? And how do we use vaccines to help control it rather than just going, for a mass vaccination strategy? Well, the best case is we get these vaccines out. It's controlled through typical public health measures. This is testing, finding cases, isolating individuals. Worst case is we start to see more and more cases across the world, hopefully starting in Africa and moving outwards. And there, we hope then that governments will turn their attention to this and say, okay, let's stop this earlier. Because as we learned, it's better to react.
But she said 2 minutes ago that UK doesn't have to worry. Meanwhile, it's in Sweden, Pakistan, and Thailand, and maybe even in Michigan. I'm telling you, these people, they are idiots, and they're making the same goddamn mistake that they did in 2020. The same mistake. Not informing the public on what they need to know when they need to know it. Now, here's the rub. We already have a trash fucking immune system from 2020, so you can't really do a mass vaccine program because it's going to weaken the immune system even more.
Get on top of the situation, stop the spread, then wait and watch and see what happens later. The African CDC is estimating that they need 10 million doses. They're only projected to get 200,000. That's a huge gap in vaccines. So it's also a question of how do we actually share vaccines? How do we get them out there? How do we help these countries manage it?
So what's going to happen What's going to happen? Because I've seen this. I've seen this train crash before. All right. What's going to happen is there's going to be a spread, and there's going to be emergency provisions that are given to these governments. In the United States, the emergency provisions will be given at the federal level and at the state level. And what there's going to be is there's going to be a big push for production of inoculations, emergency authority to fast track stuff that's in clinical trial 1, aka Moderna. All right. And all of a sudden, people get scared because everyone's worried about their face. And they get inoculated. There's going to be these waves of activity, about 3 waves of activity with the epi curve, with the outbreak. And then it will die down, because that's how it normally works. Just look at the history of Mpox. And all of a sudden, we have an aftershock where we have an additional problems with our immune system, because now it's stacked with what happened. It's coupled with what happened in 2020. And these doctors aren't paying attention to the synergistic problems that will happen when we go down this road. I want you to really listen to what I am saying, because experts are fucking stuff up so radically that it's affecting even people that are doing all these precautions to be able to mitigate their risks. People just want to live their lives. But what's going to happen is that if there's an outbreak in a developed nation, all shit is going to just get crazy. All right? Because it manifests on your skin and on your face, so people are going to get freaked out. And there's going to be a mass vaccine inoculation program that takes place for Mpox. Then all of a sudden, you start seeing other additional AIDS-like syndrome cases, because it's affecting our immune systems are trashed. And we can fix it, but we need time. You need time, and you need to do certain things. And the immune system fluctuates. The immune system fluctuates. There's lots of feedback loops. And there's ways to heal it. But if you keep insulting the immune system, what's going to happen is that additional opportunistic infections are going to take hold in the society. It's not my mistake that RSVs and mycoplasmas and other types of pathogens took hold in the aftershock of 2020, because the immune systems were trashed. They were trashed from the pathogen of 2020, and it was trashed by the inoculation. Then there's, the power brokers that are trying to control the society for more emergency power. Now, like I said, the probability of a major outbreak in a developed nation because of the healthcare and the surveillance and the biosecurity that they can bring, that they can create, I would say the outbreak chances, a major outbreak chance, is probably 20%. All right? So 80% chance that we're okay. But it's a problem, because if the outbreak happens, then a whole lot of other stuff happens that sets in motion emergency powers. And we already have a weakened immune system from the 2020 crisis. People need to pay attention. This is why you need to listen to me and how to prepare. You need to take charge of your own life, because the government is not going to do it for you. If anything, they're going to hurt you.
Children there, but also to make sure we don't need to think about what we do here if it comes over.
So is your answer then to the question, what's the most effective way to stop Mpox spreading here in the UK and elsewhere, to stop it in Africa?
Completely. We need to be supporting these African countries. We need to be listening to the scientists in the DRC and saying, what do you need? What's the financing gap? How do we get you vaccines and stop it actually spreading to other countries around the world? You always want to start at source. Let's stop it now and get ahead of it. Action is needed before actually we end up in a situation of having to be responsive because it's spread too far.
So just how serious is this for the UK? Well, we don't have any confirmed cases of the clade 1b strain yet, but as our expert said there, it's likely we will see sporadic cases at some point. But of course, the numbers continue to grow in Africa, especially among children. Experts agree that the best way to stop it is at source.
When the Mpox is going to hit the UK, that's for sure. The question is, will there be an outbreak within there? It's a 20% chance. You have an 80% chance that an outbreak won't happen. But there's a 20% chance. But if that 20% chance happens, comes to fruition, you're talking about emergency powers that are set in motion. You're talking about a new inoculation program that's set in motion. You're talking about fast tracking stuff that hasn't done proper clinical trials starting in motion. That's the problem. This is one of those situations that it's a lower probability event, but if the lower probability event happens, it's a catastrophe.
The government has just this week pledged £3 million in funding to the Democratic Republic of the Congo to tackle the virus. There's also assured people planning is underway, it says, to prepare for any cases the UK might see. And it says the risk to us here is low.
See, it's just, you know what it is? It's just the economy, it's low probability. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's not just the probability. It's the trend. And if something happens, what are the ramifications in the society and what's the ramifications for you personally and your health and blah, blah, blah. So what's happening is that they're sugarcoating it. Oh, this is only happening in Africa right now, even though that it's starting to pop up in other countries like Sweden, Thailand, and Pakistan, maybe even in the Detroit area, Michigan. All right. We might have a problem here. We may not. But if we do have a problem, it is going to be big, a big social problem. Amazing. It's just amazing how people just they don't think right. They have a problem thinking. They have a problem understanding nonlinear events and how they can cascade. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Telling you, pay attention to what I'm doing. Resveratrol, really, it's an antioxidant. It helps to boost up your cells metabolism by improving the mitochondrial health. It also gets rid of senescent cells. It's part of an anti-aging protocol. It works best when you stack it, like with C60 and ubiquinol and some of these other compounds that I have on my store. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take resveratrol every day. I take it every day. All right. It works. It's synergistic also with niacin and NAD plus, ubiquinol, C60, things that boost up that mitochondrial health and bring down those free radicals. So this is the reason why you should be taking resveratrol. Now, some people say, oh, resveratrol doesn't work as well as some of the other things. It's about stacking. It's about stacking. Stack, stack, stack. All right? So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the resveratrol and follow what I'm doing. I take it with the C60 and the NAD plus and ubiquinol. A lot of people can't sleep because they're worried about getting Mpox or autoimmune disease or a nuclear war in Ukraine or maybe even an asteroid in 2029. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the good night formula so you can sleep and get the 3 cycles of REM sleep that you need for consolidating memory, to detoxifying your central nervous system, and to have energy when you wake up. If you're chronically deprived of sleep, toxins build up and you start having problems with those cells and those tissues, especially neurons. It has been found, researchers are seeing that chronic sleep deprivation leads to memory loss and dementia. Part of the reason is that you're not consolidating memory. Another part of it is that your neurons are being built up with toxins. So it's really important to get good sleep regularly. Good sleep regularly, REM sleep and deep sleep regularly, is actually a pillar for anti-aging. This is what individuals that are in the longevity subculture have found. You can boost up your health, even if you don't want to do a full anti-aging protocol. Even if you don't care to live to 150 years old or 200, that's your right, all right? But you can learn from the subcultures that are coming out from what we're learning in the anti-aging and longevity movement, and how to heal your body, how to boost up your immune system, how to detoxify your body. It's about proper diet, proper exercise, proper supplementation, filtering your water, stretching, help doing some resistance training, doing some cardiovascular training, not doing too much of it. You don't want to overwork your joints. You got to keep those joints healthy. When you get older, your hip joints are really important. Your ankle joints are really important. Your knee joints. The moment that your ankle, knee, or hips start to go, you start to age faster. Period. Full stop. Because you can't move around. So what do you need to do? You need to maintain those joints. And you don't want to put too much load on them. You want to overwork them, but you have to move around and build muscle and supplementation and all this. But you look at someone that's older and they start having a problem with their legs, it's downhill from there. Downhill. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the Good Night Formula. So at least you can sleep and get well rested and consolidate memory, so you can live another day to watch the asteroid hit the Earth in 2029. Now, since the nuclear war is potentially going to erupt in Europe because of what the Ukrainians are doing with the Russians, please go to my store and get the deodorant bar. I have it in citrus and peppermint, lavender, and tea tree. This is for males and females. It's made from all essential oils from the Himalayas. It's all natural. It has no aluminum, no baking soda in it. Use it every day, and it helps us detoxify your body. So it's a dual product. Use it every day. It's for males and females. Get a couple bars for your household. Get it in the citrus or the peppermint, lavender, and tea tree. It's a great product. And you're probably going to perspire, right, in a nuclear war, because it's going to get hot out there. Even better bar, all right? This is a skincare bar. It's a dual purpose bar. This is high quality, all right? Made also from essential oils from the Himalayas, all natural. You can apply it on your skin every day. You'll notice that your skin's softer, smoother, and it'll have a little bit of a glow to it. In addition, you can put it on a bug bite, and the itching from the bug bite, let's say a mosquito bite, it'll go away in 20 or 30 seconds. If you rub it on, let's say, a muscle, you'll alleviate the muscle pain that you might have, or it might even eliminate the muscle pain, depending on the severity of it. That takes about 60 to 120 seconds. It's a very high quality bar here. You put it on a cut, an abrasion, or a minor burn, it'll help to heal the burn, the abrasion, or the cut. This is a very high quality, multi-purpose skincare bar. So have one of these in your medicine cabinet when you need it. Bam. And you'll go, wow, Dr. Paul Cottrell, you were right. My kids had mosquito bites, and I put it on the mosquito bites, and the itching went away and healed it quicker. Oh, really? Okay, great. Take my advice. Get the even better bar. If you have eczema or psoriasis, and we talked about that issue earlier in this video, apply it on there. And what it does is it mitigates that response, that immune response, calms it down, So, and it allows it to heal. All right. It's all about, remember what I said about inflammation, and you know, you want to calm it down. If you have autoimmune disorder, you have an overactive immune system. That means you have overactive pro-inflammatory cytokines. You need to calm that down. When you calm those down, the psoriasis goes away. Really simple. Really, really simple. All right. Structural nano silver gel. I have it in a dispenser. I also have it in a tube form. This is just a new label for it, but this dispenser, you can carry it in your bag. But please go to my store and get the structural nano silver gel. You apply it on your hands, on your face, around your nose, around your eyes, ears, lightly coat your nostrils, and it will neutralize pathogens. All right. You can use it on your skin daily. You'll notice actually that your skin is clearer. And you know, put it on at night. You know, if you want to do like a overnight skin treatment, put it on your skin at night, exfoliate in the morning, and you do that on a regular basis, and you're going to notice that your skin's better. Put it on your face at night. When you wake up and exfoliate, you'll notice that your skin not only is clearer, but it's tighter. It'll tighten your skin. All right. So please go to my store and get the structural nano silver gels that I have. I have it in 2 different varieties, in a tube form and in this dispenser form. Please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Oh, and this is dual purpose. It'll help to heal wounds, cuts, abrasions, and minor burns. It'll speed up the healing process. How? By neutralizing pathogens and keeping the wound clean. Really simple stuff. Oh, telling you, if your area has a problem with it, with the coming crisis that we're talking about here, you're going to want to put this on your skin every day. All right. So it's really important to have this available. I'm telling you, lots of people are not paying attention.
Mpox is back. So what does this mean for Australia? Australians have been warned to be alert for symptoms after multiple locally acquired cases of the virus were reported within our borders. The World Health Organization has declared the new spread a public health emergency, but Australian authorities are saying not to panic. Firstly, what is Mpox? Mpox, previously known as monkeypox, is a virus belonging to the same family as smallpox, which spreads via the bloodstream. The disease was first discovered in monkeys in a Danish laboratory in 1958, while the first human case was identified in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1970. Mpox was extremely rare outside parts of Africa until a couple of years ago, when a strain of the virus spread to more than 20 countries where the disease was not endemic, including Australia. There are 2 major strains of the virus currently circulating, Clade 1 and Clade 2. Clade 1 is believed to be a more serious and deadly form of monkeypox, which can spread through skin-to-skin contact. The variant is spreading in Africa, but no Clade 1 cases have ever been recorded in Australia. The Clade 2 strain is believed to be less severe, less contagious, and less deadly. Its subclade, known as Clade 2b, was the strain that spread globally in 2022, and this is the strain of Australia's newest cases. Mpox can be transmitted through contact with an infected person or animal or contaminated surfaces. It can spread through close contact, such as inhaling the infected droplets or coming into contact with infected bodily fluids. Symptoms typically appear after 1 or 2 weeks after infection and can include a fever, headaches, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, chills, and exhaustion. But the symptom you're probably most familiar with is the distinctive rash that can appear on the body in the form of lesions that often start on the face. Young children and immunosuppressed individuals are more likely to be affected more severely by Mpox, while adults are believed to experience relatively mild cases. While good hygiene practices such as hand washing are always encouraged, COVID measures such as mass vaccination and mask wearing are not being recommended. The most at-risk groups include men who have sex with men and sex workers, and these groups are eligible for a free vaccination.
I'm telling you, if you step back and look at the metaphysics of this, like I remember what I said with societies, If you lose affinity to God, country, and family, the society starts to crumble. Well, if you have proclivities that are antithetical to biblical teachings, then and you have this kind of lifestyle, right, that is antithetical, then you are going to have things that happen in the society that will be disruptive. All right. So at a metaphysical level, people are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and they're being punished for it. Now, you can apply that to in many different ways, and I'll tell you, it seems to me that we're in times where we're in a period, in an epoch, we're in an era where there's a series of plagues that are happening. Some are biologically related, some of them are environmentally related, some of them are geo-continental related, like earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's happening all at once. This seems, if you were to try to explain what's going on today to someone that was living during the biblical times, they would say, yeah, we saw that, 3,000 years ago, and this is what happened. It's of that variety, right? And we try to explain it away using science. Maybe it's metaphysical.
Mpox has been declared as a new global emergency. But how does this affect the UK? The deadly disease has caused more than 500 deaths in Africa, and now over a dozen countries have confirmed a rise in cases. Common symptoms of Mpox include a skin rash or pus-filled lesions, which according to the UK Health Security Agency can last 2 to 4 weeks. It can also cause a fever, headaches, muscle aches, back pain, low energy, and swollen lymph nodes. The NHS says anyone can get Mpox, and it can be passed on from one person to another through any close physical contact with Mpox blisters or scabs. For example, touching clothing, bedding, or towels that's being used by someone with Mpox, or from the coughs or sneezes of a person with Mpox when they're close to you. A new variant of the virus is spreading, and while the risk of it coming to the UK is seen as low, health officials say they're preparing for any cases. Follow for more.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Let's listen to this one.
Hello everyone. Today's topic of discussion is Mpox outbreak. First of all, let's see why is it in the news. Recently, the center has asked states to enhance surveillance and take effective measures for prompt detection of Mpox cases. According to Health Ministry officials, the risk of a large outbreak with sustained transmission is presently low for India. The World Health Organization on 14th August 2024 declared the Mpox outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern. Now let's discuss what is Mpox. The Mpox virus is an orthopox virus, which is a genus of viruses that also includes the variola virus, which causes smallpox. Monkeypox is a zoonosis, a disease that is transmitted from infected animals to humans. According to the WHO, cases occur close to tropical rainforest inhabited by animals.
In most cases, Mpox is zoonosis. The issue that I have is that what is going on with Clade 1b? Was it enhanced on purpose? I can't say it was definitively yet. It's a research question. I have a hypothesis thinking that because of the timing, if you look at the other data points that are non-scientific, but data points that are more geopolitical or what's going on in the election cycle in the United States, what's going on in economies, that it leads me to think that the coincidence is not a coincidence, but it's purposeful. But again, it's a hypothesis. I can't prove it. In this case, I can't prove it yet. All right. But I have this spider sense that clade 1b is manipulated.
That carry the virus. Monkeypox virus infection has been detected in squirrels, Gambian poached rats, dormice, and some species of monkeys. There are two subtypes of the virus, the more virulent clade 1, endemic in the Congo Basin in Central Africa, and clade 2, endemic in West Africa. The Mpox outbreak has affected over 115 countries and is the worst in the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring countries. 2 outbreaks of a pox-like disease were recorded in colonies of monkeys kept for research, which led to the name monkeypox. The WHO decided to change the name of monkeypox to Mpox in November 2022, following racist insinuations towards some communities. WHO had earlier declared monkeypox as a PHEIC in July 2022 and subsequently revoked the same in May 2023. Now moving on to symptoms of Mpox virus. Mpox infection in humans typically presents with fever, headache, muscle aches, and a characteristic rash that progresses from macules to papules to vesicles and pustules. Monkeypox infections are usually self-limiting, lasting between 2 to 4 weeks, and patients generally recover with supportive management. The transmission requires prolonged close contact with an infected person and is generally through the sexual route, direct contact with body or lesion fluid, or the contaminated clothing, linen of an infected person. Mpox can be prevented by avoiding physical contact with someone who has Mpox. Vaccination can help prevent infection for people at risk. Now lastly, let's discuss about India's preparedness for Mpox. According to a news report, the center has informed the authorities in airports, ports, and borders with Bangladesh and Pakistan to remain alert about incoming international passengers who show Mpox symptoms. The Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister recently chaired a high-level meeting to review the status of preparedness for Mpox in the country and related public health measures. 3 state-run hospitals have been selected as the key facilities in Delhi to quarantine, manage, and treat Mpox patients. Now moving on to practice question. Consider the following statements about Mpox virus. 1. The monkeypox is a zoonosis, a disease that is transmitted from infected animals to humans. 2. The WHO recently declared the Mpox outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern. Which of the statements given above is not correct? One only to only both uninfo or neither one has. Send the answer of this question in the comment section. Stay tuned for more.
Amazing. All right. What's going on in Thailand? Before we do that, before we go to Thailand, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and help support my work, because this is PNN, and you won't get information like this on CNN. Take the omega-3. It's really important every day. Why? Because it's going to lower your LDL levels. It's going to increase your HDL levels. It's going to improve your lipid profile. It helps with cardiovascular health. And omega-3 helps to prevent your red blood cells from sticking. And we have a problem with that, since in the 2020 crisis aftershock, people have clotting problems. Take omega-3. Like I said, it's really important to help boost up your immune system. You do that by taking turmeric. It's an antioxidant, but it also brings down the inflammation, those pro-inflammatory cytokines. In addition, you want to take ashwagandha. Lots of people are having too many carbohydrates, too many sugars, and all this stuff. So this will control your blood glucose levels and help to reduce that inflammatory response in the vascular system. That's important because if you're chronically inflamed, your immune system is not working to its max to be able to fight other types of pathogens or even cancers, right? So you want to reduce that chronic inflammation, and on top of it, by reducing it in the vascular system, you're going to reduce the chances of building up plaques. So it's really important to take turmeric and ashwagandha together to help boost up your immune system and to improve your cardiovascular fitness. It's synergistic with omega-3. So by bringing down that inflammation, controlling the blood glucose levels, and improving your lipid profile by lowering the LDL and increasing your HDL levels, you're improving your cardiovascular health too. It's a win-win. If you pay attention to how to stack the stuff, there's going to be multiple things that are benefiting your body. A lot of people have brain fog. Best thing to do is filter your water. I use a zero water filtration system. All right, so go get that at like Amazon or whatever. And take Clarity Factor. Clarity Factor will allow you to concentrate on your work or your school. It'll help to keep those dendritic connections healthy and firing. Those neurons will be firing those neurotransmitters better. You're going to have better thinking, better memory, faster cognition. It's really important. So please go to my store and take the Clarity Factor. It is synergistic with C60 because C60 helps to improve your mitochondrial health. And by improving your mitochondrial health and your neurons, you're going to have more ATP to be able to produce the neurotransmitters and to help fire them. Really important. Neurodegeneration is a major problem with aging. You can mitigate that if you follow my advice. So please go to the store and get the Clarity Factor. Vitamin D3, really important, absorbs calcium, and it's a gene expression cofactor. It helps to produce genes that are helping with the cellular processes. In addition, if a cell is infected by a pathogen of some sort and it needs to go into apoptosis, D3 helps that. So if you have something that's trying to shut down the innate immune system and prevent PKR from activating apoptosis, maybe you need to take more D3 to help that cell to go into apoptosis. Oh, that's why D3 was so important in the 2020 crisis. Probiotic, really important. I have two types. I have it in a powder form and also in a veggie cap form. I take this every day. You mix it with food or with water. I mix it with hummus during lunchtime, but take it every day. It helps to improve your gut biome. That's really important because that's going to reduce inflammation in your gut, improve metabolism, improve communication between your gut and your liver and your gut and your brain. Mood will improve because poor gut biome can affect mental health. In addition, by reducing that inflammatory response in your gut, you're going to build up a better mucosal lining within the lumen of the gut, and that helps to heal the cells of the gut. That creates a barrier so pathogens can't get in. You reduce the chances of having leaky gut syndrome and all these positive benefits by having a good gut biome. It's really important. Too many people in America have inflamed gut, and that can lead to cancers or pathogens getting into the lymphatic system or into the bloodstream. So please go to the store and get the probiotic.
Mpox, Thailand has announced its first confirmed case of a new potentially deadlier strain, Clade 1b. This is the first case of the strain in Asia, second outside of Africa. The Clade 1b, it's driven a surge in Africa with outbreaks reported in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda since July. Sweden was the first place outside of the African continent to confirm a case of the strain a week ago. While Thailand has detected over 800 cases since 2022, it is the country's first such case of this particular strain. The Department of Disease Control has tracked down some 43 people who came.
So if it's so easy to stop an infection, why is it spreading so rapidly in Africa? Because it's not that easy to stop these pox infections, especially when the society doesn't have cross-reactivity. And so it's spreading. Now, in developed nations, we have better healthcare, and hopefully we mitigate it. We mitigate the problem. But if one of these developed nations ends up getting an outbreak, it's going to be a problem.
In direct contact with the infected 66-year-old European man, he arrived in Bangkok from an unnamed African country. Thailand has mandated people traveling from 42 risk countries to test on arrival. The World Health Organization has declared the recent outbreak of Mpox a public health emergency of national international concern. Mpox is transmitted through sex, skin-to-skin contact, and talking or breathing close to another person. It causes flu-like symptoms and skin lesions. Africa, which is the most affected, has vaccines in short supply. There are, however, plans for millions of doses to arrive in the DRC in the next week or so. For latest news, download the Beyond app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
All right. Please go to my store and get the multivitamin. It's really important because multivitamins and minerals are cofactors for enzymatic activity. That is important for cellular processes. So please add this to your daily routine. It's an easy to digest multivitamin. It's high quality multivitamin. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Vitamin B complex, really important. Why? Because it helps to improve your mitochondrial health. The first 5 B vitamins helps to improve the electron transport chain. That is needed to help produce ATP. So it's synergistic with C60, synergistic with clarity factors, synergistic with ubiquinol, synergistic with NAD+, synergistic with stacking for neuro health. Really important. In addition, vitamin B complex also helps with cellular metabolism. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and add this to your daily protocol. You should be taking B vitamins every day. It's really important, especially for neural health, but also for cellular metabolism. And when we get older, our B vitamins decline. So we need to be proactive on it. Please go to my store and get the C60. I have it in 3 different varieties. C60 is a buckyball, all right? And that means that it's a carbon molecule that's 60 carbons connected. And the way the molecule works is that it soaks up free radicals, all right? It's very potent. You take a teaspoon of it a day. You can get it in a 2-ounce, a 4-ounce, or an 8-ounce configuration. What I have in my hand is the 2-ounce. The higher the ounce that you purchase, the cheaper it actually is. Why? Because it's, for the price per ounce, there's a little bit of a discount there. So get the 2-ounce, the 4-ounce, or the 8-ounce configuration. You can get it in MCT coconut oil. You can get it in extra virgin olive oil or in avocado oil. All right? Take a teaspoon of it a day. That's important every day to soak up those free radicals. Take it on an empty stomach for better absorption. And if you work out, take it before your workout so you have a better recovery time. This is really important to take every day as part of the anti-aging protocol. And when you have a good, when you have less stress on your cells and better mitochondrial health, you'll have a better immune system because you'll have more ATP. All right. So C60 is in an oil form, avocado, MCT coconut oil, or extra virgin olive oil, because the C60 molecule is lipid soluble. Oils are lipids. C60 is not water soluble. So it's important to, to take it in a lipid form for better absorption and more efficacy. It's a very high quality product. It's very important to soak up these free radicals. If you listen to the main theme here to help boost up your immune system, you need to neutralize pathogens, bring down reactive oxygen species by taking antioxidants and improving your mitochondrial health and bring down inflammation, right? And if you've been listening to me carefully, I tell you exactly what you need to do, all right? So please go to the store and get the C60. And what will happen is that over time, what you're going to notice is that you're aging slower, but you got to take a teaspoon of it a day, right? And if you couple it with some of the other stuff, it supercharges it. It supercharges the effect of this whole anti-aging, boosting the immune system, more energy. Now, I have 5 new products on my store that I just released. Actually, 6 new products because you're counting the cherry drops. Natto kinase. Go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Why do you need natto kinase? To break up clots. So this is important. We know why, because of the 2020 crisis. It's fibrinolytic, so it'll break up clots. In addition, if you take it in higher doses, it actually will improve your cholesterol level. All right. By taking this every day, it's going to improve your cardiovascular system. So you should add this to your protocol for cardiovascular fitness. That's what I have done. So that's important. NAD helps with energy. It also helps with brain function. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take the NAD. This is synergistic with some of the other things like niacin, which is right, or the B vitamin, the B complex, C60. So it's in things that will help to boost up your energy. CoQ10 or ubiquinol. So ubiquinol is the active form of CoQ10. You should be taking this every day. I've been taking ubiquinol for years, and I finally now am able to provide it to you through my store. But ubiquinol is important to take every day. It's an active form of CoQ10 that will help with it's an antioxidant. It also helps with energy levels, right? And it also will help with neurons, neural health. So it's synergistic with some of the other things that I've been talking about, like clarity factor and C60. So please, and resveratrol. So please go to my store and get the ubiquinol. Right? You should be taking this every day. Right? It's part of my daily routine. I take a lot of stuff. Right? Not everything that I take I can offer on my store, but I'm trying to build up the store where you can copy exactly what I'm doing. Vitamin K2, MK7, important for bone health and cardiovascular health. If you pay attention to the way I stack this, I tell you how to reduce cardiovascular disease and how to mitigate the accumulation of plaque and how to reduce plaque. All right. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the K2. This is synergistic with omega-3, vitamin D3, turmeric, ashwagandha. So if you do that, you're going to notice that your cardiovascular system is going to be improved, and you're going to be absorbing calcium and being able to help with your bone health. Really important. Really important. Anyone that's taking care of someone that's elderly and that elderly person didn't really focus on their bone health, and do resistance training and build muscle and bone density, they have problems, especially if they start having problems with their ankle, their knees, or their hips. It's really important. And the earlier, the better. You don't want to overwork the joints, but you don't want to underwork them either. NAC, really, really important. It's an antioxidant. All right. It also helps to detoxify the body. So I take this every day. NAC is if you notice that it's important to take different types of antioxidants, like turmeric is an antioxidant, C60 is an antioxidant, resveratrol is an antioxidant, NAC is an antioxidant, ubiquinol, antioxidant. You see, but you're attacking it in all these different ways where you're actually getting all the benefits. Antioxidants, neutralizing pathogens, and bringing down inflammation is a major, major part of slowing down the aging process and boosting up the immune system. All right. But you got to do other things too, like proper diet, proper exercise, filter your water, stretch, do some mental training, like reading and writing and talking to people in the real world, challenging your mind with something new. Because if we stay in a certain routine, we atrophy. All right. So it's really important to challenge. A child, everything's new, right? And there's high energy and everything's new. Well, even if you're older, if you put yourself in like a situation where everything is new, and you have a routine where you're building up energy levels, with diet and exercise and supplementation, you're going to start kind of mentally feeling that you're younger. On top of your cells will slow down its aging process, right? But if you're in a routine with the same foods, the same diet, the same exercise routine, you don't really, you stay within your own discipline and you don't really learn anything new, you atrophy. So you need to kind of like, what are some of the lessons learned with younger kids, and looking at their energy levels, and everything is new around them, and absorbing the environment and interacting with the environment. That's what you need to do. Get off your ass, get off the couch, and take charge of your health. If not, you're going to atrophy and have problems. So please go to my store and get the NAC. It helps to build up your glutathione levels. That's important as a strong antioxidant. It also helps with neural health. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. So with that said, thank you for listening. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Have a nice day.